What is up? It's Jan back at it again with another nerdy bookish video. This is gonna be the mid-year book tag. Mid-year freakout book tag. Whatever it's freaking called. So, it's the end of June. It's currently June 25th, so I figured it's time to do this tag because I do try to do it every year. At this point, I read 165 books already this year, and I feel great about it. I read my 165th book this morning, actually, so I was like, all right, I feel good, time to film. There are 13 questions, and I definitely have multiple answers for pretty much every single one, so we're just gonna go right on into it. I have all the books here. I'm filming in the bedroom, and it was a bad idea because I didn't think I would bring this many books because I didn't think I'd have this many answers for each of these questions because I'm indecisive. We're gonna sweat together and talk about the books I've read in the first half of the year. The first question, best book of 2023 so far. Of course, I'm gonna give you my top 3. I didn't even organize these because I'm dumb. I'm pretty sure what my number 1's gonna be at this point, but I have to give it an extra think at the end of the year. For now, my number 1 is Divine Rivals. I have 2 copies because this book is gonna be my answer for a lot of these questions, so I'm like, let's switch it up, you know? So I bought this copy immediately after I finished this one. The story behind this is I was not interested in this cover. I think this cover is hideous, no offense. Like, it did not appeal to me, and then I saw the word gods in the synopsis and I was like, I'm gonna be confused. I don't care about the hype. And then I got off the wait list for Fairy Loot, and this was my first book that I got this round. I have gotten Fairy Loot boxes before, but this time, this was the first one, and I was like, yeah, this one I want to read. Okay, let's just, if you haven't seen it yet. So that's the naked cover. The end pages are probably my favorite, other than the sprayed edges. Like, come on, I mean the sprayed edges. Okay, this is like a historical fiction fantasy, and the gods part of it is just like in the background, very subtle, no info dumping. It's just like weaved in with the letters. Once you told me letters, I was like, okay, now I'm intrigued. Now my ears are perking. And the romance is just incredible. I haven't shut up about this book since, and I've gotten a lot of people to read it, and I'm very freaking proud. The sequel comes out in April 2024, so that's very rude and inconsiderate to my well-being, but it's fine. I'll try to live, I guess. There's like magic, historical fiction-esque writing. If you liked Addie LaRue, there's like a 90% chance that you'll like the writing in this as well. This was number 1 for a while, but number 2 is now Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This is the sequel to Ninth House. It's dark academia. There's like magic, a badass female main character. This one has like my favorite thing in it, and it's set in hell, and I already can't wait for the 3rd one. I read this like right when it came out. I was on top of my shit in January, okay? Every month after that is questionable, but this was also number 1 for a couple months. But number 3 is now Adelaide by Genevieve Wheeler. So this book made me cry, which is also a question in this, but don't worry, I have multiple answers for that one too. But this one is basically one of those sad girl books about a girl in her 20s living a messy life and figuring it out and being with shitty men. All the relatable things in the life of Jan Agaton. I was sobbing. I'll link that vlog down below. I'll link this vlog down below as well. I don't think I've edited this vlog yet, so stay tuned. If you like normal people, you'll definitely like this. If you like Acts of Desperation by Megan Nolan, you'll definitely like this. Oh wait, no, it was Adelaide is number 2, Hellbent is number 3. But I think if I do a reread of Hellbent and Ninth House, I think it'd be back to number 2 because Adelaide had a trope that I hate. Anyway, okay, number 2, best sequel. Obviously Hellbent is on there, but also The Empress of Time by Kylie Lee Baker. So this is the sequel to The Keeper of Night. It's about this half British Reaper, half Japanese Shinigami, and so she struggles with like identity. In the sequel, she is on this mission to find one of her family members that she lost in the first one. This one is very, well, both of them had some gore in it, but this one is like right off the bat. I love Kylie Lee Baker's writing. There are yokai demons, and just like all her imagery is just so vivid, and I was actually able to visualize things. Also in Divine Rivals, a lot of these like top favorite books are because the author was able to make me visualize things, which is so rare for me, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better. I have to like actively tell my brain to pay attention to every detail and paint a picture, but we're getting there, okay? We are making progress. We love character development. Had a really good time. I gave this one 5 stars, just like The Keeper of Night, one of my favorite YA fantasies, if not my favorite. Another one of Kylie Lee Baker's books is in this video. Number 3 is a new release you haven't read yet, and of course I have a shit ton, but I own a bunch already, but the ones I I don't own yet. Oh, I only have one. Small Worlds by Caleb Azuma Nelson, who is the author of Open Water, which was on my top 10 of last year. Not gonna lie, I'm just waiting for the price to go down because I know it's a small book. It's a very short book. And it's also like centered around music, which I'm not a huge fan of. So I'm waiting for my library hold, but like also his writing is just stunning. So I might just bite the bullet and buy it for myself because my birthday's coming up on July 6th. So I might just do that. That might be one of my gifts to myself, but I do want to read that for sure. And then I have The Chateau, which is a thriller set in France that I just bought off of Pango for cheaper. But this one just came out like a month ago. I heard thriller set in France and I was like, sold, I'm getting it. And then I also have Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb. This is another one that I just heard about on Instagram and then bought it like immediately as soon as I saw a dragon on the cover. Like this cover is everything. The only thing deterring me from reading this like right away is how small the top and bottom margins are. Like this is not pleasing to my eye. One of these days I'll have the motivation to put myself through that. But another thing that I need motivation to put myself through is Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez. But this cover is one of my favorite covers of 2023 and of all time. It's just a tome. I just know this has like cult vibes, terrifying legacy, ancestral home, a road trip, moving back and forth in time from London in the swinging 1960s to the brutal years of Argentina's military dictatorship and its turbulent aftermath. There's ghosts in here. I know there's a lot going on, so I definitely want to get to this hopefully this year. I know Steph from Stephanie Bookish has this as one of her Patreon book club options, so if that wins, maybe that'll get me to read it. Like the spine too, ugh, come on. And then we have one for my enemy, which is the new Olivia Blake. I enjoyed the Atlas 6. I also read Alone with You in the Ether, and I have an e-arc of her other new book, Masters of None. I think it's a reprint, I don't know, but this one's like a witchy story. I think Masters of None is like a vampire story. I could be wrong. I keep switching them. I just bought this. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive, An Intricate Web of Love, Magic, and Rival Witch Families in New York City. So, oh, there are illustrations. I didn't even notice. Okay, that changes the game. I might put this higher up on my priority list because it's just gorgeous. Let's just hope it doesn't disappoint. Oh my god, these look so good together. Cute. And then lastly, for this question, I have Everything the Darkness Eats. This is by Eric LaRocca. This is their first full novel, I believe, other than like short story collections. But I just love the sleekness of this cover. I just bought this like last week. I believe it's still winning the poll for my Patreon buddy read for July, so I will be picking this up very, very soon. I'll probably read it for Summerween, to be honest, because it is really short. And like, I just love how well crafted this book is. Like, look, every page has these like borders and the chapter headings. Honestly, have no idea what it's about. It's a horror. It says an insidious darkness threatens to devastate a rural New England village when occult forces are conjured and when bigotry is left unrestrained. What does that mean? I don't really know, but I'm gonna devour this. And I hope I love it because I've been seeing mixed reviews for that one, but I've been loving everything Eric LaRocca has written for the most part. So number 4, most anticipated for the second half of 2023. Again, I have a shit ton. Like I mentioned earlier, I have Kylie Lee Baker's arc that one of my subscribers, Cathryn, sent me, so thank you so much. She said the body horror is impeccable in this. October 3rd is when it's October 3rd is when this comes out. Again, have no idea what this is about. It says a lush new YA, oh, it's YA, fantasy duology set in an alternate Tang Dynasty China where alchemy has flourished. I'm here for the body horror, I'm here for the magic, I'm here for Kylie Lee Baker's writing. And also, Cathryn sent me these cute little spooky magnetic bookmarks with it and a little handwritten card. Love it. Thank you so much, once again. And then I pre-ordered Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin. She's the author of The Nature of Witches as well as Wild is the Witch. I loved both of those books. Such cozy witchy vibes, simple magic system, the writing was cute, the little romances were cute, sometimes cringy but mostly cute. And Bring Me Your Midnight, again, don't really know what it's about, but it comes out in August and it was just like an auto buy for me. I'm trying to look for my phone so I don't get yelled at for not talking about the synopsis of these books. A lush romantic fantasy about forbidden love, the choices we make, and the pull between duty and desire. I just love when there are blurbs like that, so it gives you like the gist without me having to read the entire synopsis, because you know Goodreads and Google are free. There's also the Scarlet Veil. I know 2 of them have the word Scarlet in it, but the Scarlet Veil by Shelby Mahurin. I still have yet to finish, start and finish, the last book of the Serpent and Dove trilogy. I hated the second book, so I've been putting it off. I remember like begging for that 3rd book. I was like, oh my god, I want a book buying ban, but I need this book. Also, hello, this is Dante. Nice to meet you. What the fuck was I saying? Oh, Gods and Monsters I've owned forever. I just need to do my like sequels slash finishing trilogies and duologies vlog that I keep freaking talking about, so then I have the motivation to finish it. But I did like Serpent and Dove. I know I'm the unpopular opinion with that one. I know a lot of people hated it, but I love my witches, okay? But the Scarlet Veil is a vampire story, so of course I'm here for it. I think that one comes out in September, if I'm not mistaken. September 26th. A dark and thrilling vampire romance set in the world. Oh, it's in the world of the Serpent and Dove series. Love it. Love it even more. Amazing. And this cover. And then we have Rouge by Mona Awad. Again, this was kind of just like an auto interest type thing because it's Mona Awad. I love Bunny. It's a horror tinted gothic fairy tale. Oh, not a fan of that. About a lonely dress shop clerk whose mother's unexpected death sends her down a treacherous path in pursuit of youth and beauty. Can she escape her mother's fate and find a connection that is more than skin deep? We'll see how that one goes. I still have to read All's Well. And I also have, forgot to write it down, but I just thought of it, A Twisted Love Story by Samantha Downing, who's the author of My Lovely Wife. I hated the books that came after My Lovely Wife, but I loved My Lovely Wife. It's like in my top 3 favorite thrillers of all time. But this one says a reckless, delicious thriller about a young couple that gives a whole new meaning to the dangers of modern dating. Kind of skeptical because I hope there's not like an app involved, like a dating app. I haven't read the synopsis really. I'm excited to see how she like incorporates an intense romance in a thriller. Not a fan of this cover though, like at all. But maybe it's better in person. There's also None of This Is True. Lisa Jewell is hit or miss for me, but I did really love The Family Upstairs, and I still have to read The Family Remains. I still have to read The Night She Disappeared. I reread The Family Upstairs to read The Family Remains, and I still haven't. But I love Then She Was Gone. I hated Invisible Girl and Watching You. I've read a lot of Lisa Jewell books, so really interested in this one. I'm hoping it's like an unreliable narrator type thing, but it says a psychological thriller about a woman who finds herself the subject of her own popular true crime podcast. I love true crime, love Lisa Jewell sometimes. So yeah, this one comes out, oh, this one comes out in July. I thought this came out in August. It has good reviews on Goodreads so far. And then another thriller author that I really love is Alice Feeney, and she's coming out with a new book called Good Bad Girl. No idea what it's about. Oh, I didn't even put in my want to read, how dare I. Sometimes bad things happen to good people, so good people have to do bad things. Damn. Another thrilling mystery filled with drama and her trademark surprises. Yeah, very vague. 20 years after a baby is stolen from a stroller, a woman is murdered in a care home. The two crimes are somehow linked, and a good bad girl may be the key to discovering the truth. I don't know. Alice Feeney, her twists are unmatched. I loved Rock, Paper, Scissors. It's one of my, again, favorite thrillers of all time. But I've read like mostly all of her books besides I Know Who You Are. I know Liv from Liv's Library is like the only one keeping me from reading it because I asked her to spoil me for the twist and I guessed it. She was like, yeah, that's it. And I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't, but I do. I just wanted, just out of curiosity. Number 5 is Biggest Disappointment. For this one, I only have 2 answers. I already sold one of them on Bingo because I was so pissed every time I looked at it. But that was, I hate saying it out loud because I didn't shut up about this book from the moment I heard about it to like the moment I got it in my hands, finished it, and was pissed. She Is a Haunting. Ugh, the cover is so good and the premise is so good, but like the execution, the writing, I just could not get behind. I couldn't stay focused for more than like 5 pages at a time. It took me almost a full week to get through, which is like unheard of, especially for a YA book that I'm highly anticipating. It was like an Asian final girl trope, okay? And there were ghosts and a haunted house and it was like all the green flags. And then I read it. I can't even. I'm so glad it's out of my hands, out of my life. I'm gonna talk about it one more time at the end of the year for my most disappointing of 2023 video. But other than that, I'm done. The second one that was really disappointing, and there's a reason why I still haven't gotten rid of it, and I don't think I'm ever gonna get rid of it, but where the fuck is it? I just grabbed it. The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. Okay, this is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, and at said Barnes & Noble, when I was buying this book, is the first time I ever got recognized in public. Okay, okay? So that's why it's still on my shelf. But otherwise, I would have gotten rid of this like immediately. I don't care how, but I wanted to throw this book against the wall. I was like, this is not the Holly Black. It followed, what the fuck's his name? Oak? Why does it sound so weird? Oak, the little boy with the horns and apparently goat legs in the Folk of the Air trilogy. It follows him and this other girl, and I was just bored. Despite the tabs that look really cool with the cover. Yeah, I was bored. I still gave it 3 stars, but I think that was generous now that I think about it harder. There were a couple moments where I was like, wow, female resilience. Woo! But by the end, I was like, what did I get out of this? What was the point? I don't want to do this anymore. So I'll still read Holly Black because despite Book of Night also being a disappointment, I think that was on my most disappointing last year too. Despite all that, I have The Coldest Girl in Cold Town, which I'm hoping will be good because it's a vampire story. I'll still give Holly Black another chance. The next question is biggest surprise of the year. I have a few. Number 1, once again, Divine Rivals. Biggest surprise, I wasn't interested at all, and then the pretty edition came in the mail and I was like, yep, reading immediately, and also immediately obsessed. So that's my number 1 biggest surprise. I also have The Villa, which I read in like a total of 6 hours. I hate this cover. I hate summery covers, and it's set in the summer in Italy. It's a thriller, but it's like a slow burn type of thriller, but it has all the gothic vibes that I love. Just wasn't expecting to freaking 5-star top thrillers of all time, this book, because Rachel Hawkins wrote The Wife Upstairs and I wasn't a big fan of it. I gave it like a low 3, but Reckless Girls was good on audio and I was like, okay, let me give this a shot, and I actually read a library copy and I still bought a physical edition. Like, that's how good it is. So highly recommend if you like slower thrillers. Also dual timeline, and they're like Daisy Jones vibes. I just read this at the perfect time because I was craving those Daisy Jones vibes. I'll talk about that later on for another question in this. I also have The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. This was a surprise because it has the found family trope. It's like very universally known that this has the found family trope, and it's about this nanny basically who goes to this orphan house and teaches these kids magic. I just didn't expect to love this as much as I did, especially just via audio. I was like desperate to get my TBR done back when I did those, whichever month I read this, and I was like, okay, you know what? I own the book and I don't usually do this, but I'm desperate. I'm gonna read it audibly. And I'm glad I did it that way because the audiobook was so good. It was so entertaining, so captivating, and I just wanted to keep reading it. I didn't want to stop listening to this audiobook, okay? It was just so cute, so wholesome. Thank you so much, Destinie, for recommending this book and also gifting me this copy. She's one of my patrons. Love you so much. Thank you. Speaking of my Patreon, we're called The Lair. We're vampire themed. Y'all know my obsession with vampires and bats and all the things. All the links are down below. I'd love to have you. We have a Discord where we talk about everything under the sun. We get to know each other really well. We get personal on there sometimes, so just so you know. We have readathons, buddy reads, movie night, polls, exclusive content, of course, videos with Joey. Yeah, it's a good time over there. So I would love to have you if the bloodlust is calling to you at this very moment. Spiel's over though. Oh, All the Dead Lie Down by Kyrie Macaulay, I think is the author's name. I just read this very recently. I just picked it up randomly from the library and I ended up 5-starring it. I was obsessed with all the spooky vibes, the gothic atmosphere, the writing. Like, I need this book on my shelves. I think this might be another birthday gift to myself because I hate buying books that I've already read, but like those are rare anyway. I got it from the library, but I want it. I need it on my shelves. It might be on my top 10 of the year because it's just that good. Like, the twists are really good too. It is YA, but it was good. There's a sapphic romance in there too. It gets dark really quickly. Not really quickly. It does a good job. The last answer for this question is I put Terms and Conditions, which is the sequel to The Fine Print, but it's basically the Dreamland Billionaires series in general. So yes, thank you Sid for putting this series on my radar, because I was like, if Sid liked this series, I was like, okay, she doesn't usually read books like this, so I had to give it a shot. And I did really like The Fine Print, besides the ending because of my least favorite trope. But my least favorite trope was also in the second book, except it was like expected because it was like part of the premise. So I was like, okay, let me give it a shot. And I loved Terms and Conditions. I 5-starred that bitch, and I think the third one's gonna be a 5-star as well because it's a second chance romance. Moving on, number 7, new favorite author, whether that's a debut author or a new to you. And of course, Rebecca Ross. Are we surprised? I bought like 3 more books by her for me to get my fix until April, because I just cannot. I can't just sit here waiting. So I own A River Enchanted now, which I'm gonna read in a couple weeks maybe. One of my subscribers, Emily, gifted me Dreams Lie Beneath, and then I'm also about to get A Fire Endless, which is a sequel to A River Enchanted. I don't even care. I don't even care. Like, I'm gonna get it for book of the month. I am ready. I am prepared. I'm going to read her backlist as I wait. Also, R.F. Kong. Obviously not a debut author, but she's a new to me author. I finally finished Babel this year. I started this last year, but technically it counts as 2023 because I finished it this year. And then also Yellowface. I will be tackling the Poppy War trilogy, hopefully this year is the goal. I just love her writing. I think she's brilliant in every way. I think she's one of the most intelligent authors out there. I'm gonna keep saying it. So if you haven't read either one of these yet, highly recommend. And I know the Poppy War trilogy is, you know, no exception. Number 8, newest fictional crush. Once again, Roman. Roman from Divine Rivals. He is just the sweetest cinnamon roll. He loves writing. He's bookish. He is just so thoughtful. He will go to the ends of the earth for this woman, okay? He just knows his priorities, and he's not afraid to stand up for himself, to like follow his heart. Oh, I love him. And then also Caden from Fear the Flames. I'm not even done with this book, y'all. I'm like 200 something pages in, but Caden is that broody bad boy with the scar on his face who like knows how to roast, knows how to also like be romantic as fuck. It's just cute. Their banter. This is another big surprise actually, because I didn't think I would love it this much, like making it my whole personality type thing, but the author, Olivia Rose Darling, is also like the sweetest friggin' human being. She actually sent me a second copy, the newest version of it, and I'm still working on it for a vlog I'm currently filming. Caden, Commander Velez. I don't know how to say it, to be honest. Fake fan, but whatever. He is like touch her and you'll die, literally, and also will go to the ends of the earth for the woman he loves. So good. He's so well written. He's so sweet, but also a badass. Number 9, a book that made you cry. Of course I have 3. Already mentioned Adelaide, sobbed. Then we have A Quiet Life. This one was like not really a sob, but there's a man whose wife passed away, so that's what made me cry, because it's like the aftermath of that and him like coping and dealing with it. So that's the sad part in that. And then another, there's a trend here. Another one with the wife dying, Pack Up the Moon. I'm still not done with it. I'm 200 pages into this one as well, but this one has letters in it as well. I just love letters in books for some reason. It's letters after death is what gets me every time, especially from a significant other. The wife basically leaves the husband letters because she knew she was dying because she has this terminal illness. She like tells him how to basically move on, live his life without her. It's just so sad to even like say out loud. I can't. That's why it's taken me so long, because it's so fucking sad. The next question is a book that made you happy. Divine Rivals, Fear the Flames, Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. This one I was squealing swooning also. It's about time that I got to this. I've had the trilogy, the box set, for years. I'm glad I finally got to it, and I also read the sequel, and I just finished the novella following Susanna and Mick. That's another one. I love them. I don't love like I don't like Mick like for myself, but like with Susanna, they're the best couple. I love them. They're so funny. Susanna is like the most relatable character too, because she's like tiny but feisty. This book really made me happy. The fact that I just read it in general because I've had the books for so long also made me happy. The last answer I have for this one is Shady Hollow. So this is a cozy mystery series. I read this during Flowerathon, which was hosted by Rachel from Happy Go Lovely Sleeves. So this is about, so this has talking animals, okay? So this was also kind of a surprise because I was like, this is gonna be cheesy as fuck. But no, it was so fucking cute. It was pitched to me as Zootopia meets Gilmore Girls, and I was like, are you kidding? Sold. Obviously it's a cozy mystery, so the stakes aren't too high. It's not like super riveting or anything. It's not like a really jaw-dropping, groundbreaking twist, but it was a fun time and it made me happy. There's a bookstore in this small town and it's run by a raven because, you know, Edgar Allan Poe, and then across the street there's a little coffee shop diner thing that's run by a moose named Joe. So fucking cute, this small town. But we follow this fox named Vera, who is the journalist of the town, and she's the one like investigating these mysteries. So I did binge the first and second, and then also the short story in this series, and then I still have to read Mirror Lake. I've had that book for months from the library. Then Twilight Falls comes out later in the year too, I believe, so that's another anticipated release for the second half. Number 11, most beautiful book that you bought or received this year. I told you, it's like every fucking answer. Also this. This is actually probably my top because obviously it's A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. Yep, end pages. And then, yeah, hello. This is probably my number one because then the like chapter headings or whatever. Okay. There's also this edition of Dracula. I now have 9 editions of Dracula. I know, crazy. But I love the back. Like that looks so eerie. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on these right edges, but these end pages. And then there's illustrations in this, I believe. Yeah, there's like these types of pages where there are quotes. Chapter headings are coffins. What is this? Is this Lit Joy Crate? Yeah, Lit Joy Crate Classics Edition. I've just been a special edition hoe this year, especially because I've discovered that I have a talent for finding them for cheap on Pango as soon as they're listed, basically. So I got this from Pango, Silver in the Bone. Don't know when I'm gonna read this, but it's there. End pages. Yeah, I love the spine because I've never seen a spine that doesn't have the title of the book. There's something about that, you know? And then I also found this one on Pango for like $20. Spice Road. Like, can we take a moment? Look. And then we have this beautiful art print, but also these end pages. Yeah, I'm saying, I know. Okay, number 12, favorite book to movie adaptation that you saw this year. So, like I said earlier, I was gonna mention this later, but Daisy Jones and the Six series adaptation, I think it's on Hulu, right? One of the best adaptations I've ever seen, aside from Normal People, and I also sobbed just as harder than when I read the book. I read Daisy Jones twice. I still have to listen to the audiobook. I've read it twice physically. I've seen the show. I want to rewatch it again soon. Joey loved it too, so that was a good time. And then also we saw A Man Called Otto in theaters, the one with Tom Hanks. It was an adaptation for this Frederick Bachman book, and again I sobbed, and Joey loved that one too. That one was a really good movie, and I believe it's on Netflix now. And then the last question, books you really need to read still for the rest of the year. Obviously a shit ton, but the main goals here that I have like planned for now are my 2 lists for my 23 books in 2023 and my 12 recs by 12 friends. So I'll link both those videos down below. I am making pretty good progress on both. Not as good as progress as I wanted. Like, I was on a roll in the beginning, 1 book a month for the 12 recs by 12 friends, but it's fine. I can just play catch up, film some challenge vlogs pertaining to those lists. They'll get done. I have faith in this one. Last year, I just slapped a bunch of random like 500+ page books on there. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was smarter this year. I was more reasonable. I do have like Ordinary Monsters on there on the 23 books in 2023, so gotta work on that soon, but also saving it for spooky season. But you didn't ask, so that's that. Those are all the questions for the mid-year book tag. I have to tag people. I don't know who hasn't done this yet, so if you want to do it and you need someone to tag you for, I don't know, justification, this is me tagging you. This is me tagging you. I'm just gonna do that lazy answer for that. If you made it to the end of this video, let's put those like the heart hands. It's a newer emoji, so like update your shit if you don't see this emoji option, because it took me a while. But yes, the heart hands emoji in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope y'all had a great day. Stay safe and stay spooky always, and I'll see y'all in my next one. Bye.